Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Obsessive Prepper AZ. I am doing part 2 of a 2-part video that I started. So if you haven't seen the part 1, check it out. And what we're talking about is part 1 was a lot about thoughts and things that I'm doing, but the part 2 is going to be answering subscribers' questions, talking about coffee, oxygen absorbers, and some of the things that I just recently learned might help you. I've got a lot of things to go through, so hopefully it's not too long. Come on with me and we're going to get started. So in the last video, I talked a lot about like medical supplies, not letting your preps go down. Make sure that you always keep your preps up. Always in the back of your head, go back out and look at your preps or wherever you've got your preps stored. Make sure they're updated. Make sure that they've not been ruined by moisture or bugs or animals. Anything that possibly could destroy your preps. And I'm not just talking food. Things like sutures, they do have shelf lives on them. You can get an extended life on them, but you know, maybe that's the time where you want to repurchase something like a suture. So always keep your preps in the back of your head and always think about updating. And if you do that, you're not having to spend a lot of money at one time. This is once you've built all your preps up. So another thing that I purchased just recently is some more water purification tablets. Now, military used to have their water purification tablets, and I sold some old military, but they used to put wax over the bottle. Basically, they dipped your lid into wax, and that sealed any kind of moisture or oxygen going through. So that might be something you might want to think about, is in your bottles, melt some candle wax, dip it in there just to make sure that no air is getting into them. That's just a thought. I sold military, you know, back in the day, and they always had wax on them, and maybe it will help get a longer shelf life for your water purification. But these things you want to think about every few years. Go purchase another one to put into your preps. You can have water pumps, Berkey. I've got Berkey water filter. You can have your Aqua Mirror supplies. Anything that you've got, just make sure that they're updated. Maybe purchase an extra straw once in a while, and just always keep adding to your preps. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and dive into subscribers' questions. Michelle, could you please tell me the exact oxygen absorber you use and where do you buy them? So many out there are, and you're the perfect person since you have been doing this so long. I am so new and at this and need all the help to do it right, and food is expensive and hard to get at times. Love your video. Please let me know the ones you use. Thank you, Michelle. Michelle, good question. A lot of people don't realize that the cc on an oxygen absorber is cubic centimeters, and that is the amount of space, air, that it needs to remove the oxygen. So oxygen absorbers are in cc's. You can buy a 50 cc up to 300 cc. There's packs of 100 cc's. So it just depends. I purchased on Amazon. These are 300 cc's. Now again, in my last video that I did, I am not an Amazon affiliate. I'm not getting paid for any of this. There's certain products that I find that I like to let you know about. One of them is if you go to the LDS, the Provident Living, you can purchase oxygen absorbers, but they come 100 to a pack. What I like about the Amazon pack, and this is about $20 on Amazon, is they come 10 to a package. What I like about using the 10 packs is you're not destroying the entire pack. So I put them in a jar like this when I am doing different projects that day. That way my oxygen absorbers are in a smaller container and they're not sucking and working overtime where I can't go do my projects and add it to. So oxygen absorbers, definitely I would suggest purchasing your oxygen absorbers in smaller quantities already broke down. It's worth the extra money unless you're planning on just doing a huge supply of them. Sorry about that if it wrinkled in the microphone there. Going back to how much do I actually use. Now, one 50cc oxygen absorber will work into like a pint to possibly a quart. A gallon Mylar bag would be about 300 cc's. So one of these. Now, I am just an extra duty kind of person. So for me, I've already spent the money on them. I'll throw 2 in a bag anyways. That's just me. 5 gallons in a 5-gallon container, you're looking about 2000 cc's of oxygen absorbers. So we're looking at there about 7-8 oxygen absorbers for a 5-gallon bucket. Now remember, if you're doing anything like sugar, do not add oxygen absorbers to that. You will have one big sugar cube. It condenses it down. That's probably how they made sugar cubes when they used to come in a box. I don't even know if they come in a box anymore. They had to remove the oxygen out to make that little cube. So don't put it in anything that has like sugar in it. Do your beans, your rice, do your flours, do pasta. Things like that is what you would want to use an oxygen absorber. And again, you're already purchasing it and you've purchased 100. Normally they're 100. Throw in an extra one in. It is not going to hurt the product. Now, something I wanted to address is jars like this. Now, I know Ikea is all over Europe, and one of the things that Ikea has are these jars here. These jars are wonderful. Check out my Ikea video. Okay, I just wanted to show you here at Ikea, they have got jars that are big enough to put your spaghetti noodles in or your macaronis. They also sell the gaskets for them in case you need to replace those for $1.99 and different sizes. I'm primarily here for the big tall ones. So these would make great storage for you if you could get some oxygen absorbers. Now, if you don't have oxygen absorbers, still you can store your pastas, your rices, everything in these kind of jars. They're a little expensive, but in the long run, you can definitely keep reusing them, and they're just like mason jars. So all you subscribers in Europe, check out Ikea, and if you purchase the oxygen absorbers, I wanted to show you here. Now these jars have the gaskets built into it, and if you can see here, I put 2 of my oxygen absorbers in here. And this jar actually seals. This is completely sealed. So if I pop this band, I can't get this open. So if you purchase these from Ikea and you've got oxygen absorbers, use these jars. Seriously, let's see if I can get it. There you go. Did you hear that? So now I'll have to put 2 more oxygen absorbers in, but these jars with these seals from Ikea work great. It gives you a way to store some of your product. So I hope this helps you out as far as in Europe and maybe here at home, because I know your jars are not easily found. Not quite sure if you know, if you're new preppers, you cannot reuse oxygen absorbers over. Once they've used up, sucked the air out, they're no longer good anymore. So you cannot reuse oxygen absorbers. Another product that Ikea has, I like Ikea. I'm a big Ikea fan for not necessarily their furniture, but for other things. And one of the things that Ikea has is their coffees in brick form. And I did a video here talking about coffee, how long to store coffee, what's the best way to store it. And if you go down and you read the subscribers' comments, there's a lot of helpful information. But one of the things on Ikea coffee, which I like, I'm going to go ahead, let's see. This one here is ground coffee, dark roast. I've got a Stay in the Moment, second cup, ground pressed coffee, dark roast, organic. same price as this. And then we've got a French. I think this is ground coffee medium roast. So this is organic also. So the way it comes, let me open one up for you. I love their coffee, by the way. I buy it all the time, $5.99 a pound. But if you're going to stir coffee and you've got an Ikea around, this is how it is. Already sucked air out in a food saver bag. And I have had these. I purchase them all the time, but I literally store them, and I've got a couple years out of storing them just like this in their bags. So just to give you another option on coffee. And lastly, one of the other items that I purchased at Ikea that I think work well for preps is just their can openers. These will spin at the top and remove the entire top. It's not one of those that you have that flapping lid. It actually removes the entire top. So what I recommend for anybody that is going to store a lot of food, especially in cans, is have plenty of can openers. So going to one of the subscribers' comment on can openers that I had done on a video, it was storing pasta long term. And Tainin Benkavad, give me a break. P38, do it with a knife. Why the heck would you be opening a can with a spoon? A good honey knife, you can cut any can open with an eye blink. True that. Any good honey knife? Get yourself a decent honey knife. Marine Corps K-bar, love it. Air Force survival knife. If I'm going to recommend any straight blade knives, it's going to be the Marine Corps K-bar and an Air Force survival knife. And yes, you were right. You can open any can, boom, by stabbing it. But you can also hurt yourself. So, you know, if you have plenty of can openers around, you're not going to have this issue. And the Ikea one of my favorite can openers that I have not had any issue. I've had it for years. And if you know, you can get some real crappy can openers. This company here, amazing, amazing can opener. This thing is never stripped out. It is tried and true. He was talking about, I watched a video where you can sit here and rub this to open up the can. Now we're talking in a survival SHTF situation where you don't have can openers anywhere around. You don't have this beautiful combat knife. What can you open a can with? And so this is what I was discussing. He's right, but where we're talking in general about ways to open up cans. Lastly, I have on key rings everywhere in my preps, in my drawers, a good church key and a P38. Now, I highly recommend that if you are going to get P38s, you need to make sure there's something on here. Sorry about that. See if I can get it in the picture. Can you see that right there? It's Shelby. You want to make sure that you have a good quality P38. There's a lot of companies out there that are putting P38s out there, making them look like they're a P38 that's US made. The Shelby can opener is one of the best ones you can get. And the reason why I state that is when you break the can down, so if you're gonna do this, you're gonna open your can. If you don't know how to use this, check out P38 videos. It'll show you how to use it. But the cheap ones will bend. You do not want a cheap P38. And all the military guys, the older guys, know that these things are tried and true tested. Most guys that use P38s will have them on their key ring. It's just a good thing to have in a lot of drawers. If you're storing number 10 cans, put them up underneath your plastic lid and have a lot of can openers available to you, because not having can openers in an SHTF situation is going to be a big bummer, because it's going to be a spoon to open it, pounding it on a rock or a knife. So that's what I have for the can openers. Let's see what else we're going to move on to. Subscribers' questions. Let's see. I did a poop video on toilet paper. I've had plenty of people comment that it's way too much toilet paper. You know, use your own mind. You know how much toilet paper your family goes through. Add it up through a week. If you don't know for sure, maybe just keep a track of what you use a week. You know, in this video, this is just guidelines. One lady says, well, only use one and then wash your hands. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not the kind of person that's going to wipe my butt with a leaf. I don't want to. I'll do it if I have to, but I'm not going to use one sheet and then go wash my hands. So you do what you have to do. And that's the funny thing about subscribers and comments. We all think a certain way. We're all going to do something different. So what works for me or what I'm showing you for guidelines, adjust it for your family's needs, what you're going to need, not necessarily, you know, just because. Josh Lawson. Just poop in the toilet, then jump in the shower. No TP needed. I said, boys, my husband would agree with you. You know, do what your family needs. Maybe there's not any running water. Maybe you can't jump in a shower. You've always got to think about different scenarios. Maybe, just maybe, if you only use that one. My dad used to say in the military, the big joke was you get one sheet of toilet paper, stick it over your finger, wipe your butt, and then use the toilet paper to wipe your finger off. Big military joke. Do what you need to do, but definitely doing toilet paper, having preps like that, you need to always think about in the back of your head. I know I repeat myself a lot, but when you're doing videos this long, you're going to repeat yourself. And I get the attacks from people that say she talks too much. Go find another channel. I'm sorry. You need to try to do a video and understand how difficult sometimes it can be because you're trying to throw so much information in at one time. All right, Jenny De Leon. The food you are buying is cancer-causing. GMO, high-processed oils and flour. Spam? Question mark. Read labels. Love the ideas of stocking food for emergency, but I'm not spending this much money on low nutrients, dense GMO food. Good for you. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. You're not buying GMO. Well, what happens if SHTF happens? Are you going to not eat food because it's GMO? Are you going to not eat food because it's packed with carbohydrates? You've got to think about this. If you have the money and this is the way you want to live your life, GMO free, no carbohydrates, no flour, all those kind of things, then by all means, you need to stock up and prep for that. But there will be a certain time, and I do not by any means hope to gosh this ever happens. But if you're in an SHTF situation, you're going to be thankful that you have GMO corn. You are going to be thankful that, you know, I've heard people say corn's fed to pigs and it fattens them up. You're going to be thankful for it. It doesn't make a difference if a can of Spam, a jar of Skippy, a can of raviolis. I don't care. You're going to be thankful because you're going to be starving. And what are you not going to feed your family because it has these products in it? And I'm going to go back to that I've always stressed. Store what your family is going to eat. Don't just put 100 cases of Spam on your shelf and you've never ate Spam. Because if you're not rotating your food products, you have no business being a prepper. The only products that you should have that you're going to use as a toss away is maybe long-term food storage that you're never going to touch. You're putting it out there, freeze-dried foods, whatever it may be, for 25, 30 years, and after that time period, throw it in the garbage. Use that as your insurance. But if you're going to make a pantry, make sure it's the foods that you eat. And yes, if you're that person that is not going to eat the GMO products, then store your food. But you have got to understand that in SHTF situation, you're going to be thankful you have 75 pounds of sugar, 300 pounds of sugar, and 500 pounds of flour. What are you going to eat? So you have to think about that. And I'm going to end on this note here on this last comment. This was on a video, Start Prepping Now, How-To Guide, SJS. Yeah, and this was before, talking about when I had done this video. Yeah, and this was before COVID and riots, burning our businesses and killing and abusing the police. Go ahead, you can say it. I told you so. I don't want to be that person that says I told you so, but I've been doing these videos for a long time, and over a period of time, you even question, are you doing too much? Are you doing too extreme? Is these things really going to happen? But in the long run, my preps have been tested time and time again. I did a video here about the trials of our lives, where we had to live off our preps for a while. You have hurricanes, natural disasters, loss of income. All of these factors play into why you should have food preps and food storage. And one of the biggest tests that we have had recently is the quarantine, is not being able to go buy your foods. And when you have a pantry full of food and you store it correctly and rotate it, you know it's going to be there. You don't have to run off to the store to go get it. So I'm going to leave it here. I know it's a long video. Whoever made it to the end, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe. If you want to be notified for future videos, ring the bell. I ask that you all please keep prepping, keep it up, because we're going into the fall time. We don't know if there's going to be another lockdown or issue where we're going to have our preps again. I pray that you all are safe and healthy, and have a blessed day.